Hi Year 7, so the bake we're going to look at today is our Dutch apple cake, and for this you're going to need a tin, an oven proof tin. If you've got a sandwich tin like this, that's brilliant, or a long one, it doesn't really matter. You're going to grease it and you're going to put some grease proof paper in there. A mixing bowl, sharp knife to cut up our apple, stirring spoon. You're going to need some flour, caster sugar, an apple, ground cinnamon, 2 eggs, butter and some demerara sugar for the topping. You're also going to need your chopping board, but we don't need that just yet. So the first thing that you're going to do is make sure you've washed your hands, got your apron on, and you're going to put your oven on to 180 degrees. Okay, once you've done that, leave that oven to warm up, and then you can start mixing all your ingredients. So you need to make sure that you've weighed out all your ingredients before you start. That's going to save you time. You're then going to mix your caster sugar, put that in your bowl, and your butter together. Make sure that your butter or margarine, whichever you're using, is soft, okay, because otherwise it's going to be quite tricky to mix together if it's hard. So make sure you've got your butter out of the fridge before you start doing this, okay, maybe an hour or so it's got time to warm up. So pop your butter and your caster sugar in the bowl, and all you're going to do is you're going to mix that together until it's nice, light and fluffy. Okay, so you don't want to see any big lumps of butter and you don't want to see any sugar left. That is the first thing that you're going to do. Have a go at doing that. So I've whisked my butter and caster sugar together and it's nice, light and fluffy. Okay, I'm now going to crack my 2 eggs into the bowl. Okay, try not to get any shell in there because you don't want any added crunch. It's not going to be very nice for whoever's going to eat it. So pop those 2 eggs in, and then you're going to mix those eggs into your caster sugar and your butter. Okay, it might go a little bit curdly, okay, but that doesn't matter. Okay, once you add your flour, that will soon go nice and smooth. So mix those eggs in, as you can see. Okay, bit of muscle power, it means you don't have to go to the gym. Okay, give it a good old mix. Then you're going to add in your flour. Okay, you're going to sieve your flour into the bowl. Okay, I've already sieved mine. So this is just going to go straight in, and then I'm just going to mix it all together, being really careful to make sure I don't get any of it actually outside of the bowl. Okay, so pop your flour straight in. Okay, and then I'm just going to stir it in nice and gently. Okay, going round the outside and then down the middle, round the outside and down the middle until I incorporate all of that flour into my mixture. Okay, have a go at that. Brill. So now I've mixed all of my ingredients together, my flour, butter, sugar and eggs. I've got a nice light consistency of my cake mixture. I'm just going to then put it straight into my dish. Okay, sandwich tin, loaf tin, whichever one you have got. Okay, so really nice and carefully pour it straight in. Making sure that you scrape the bowl. You don't want to leave any of your mixture in there. Straight into your cake tin. And then you're going to make sure that you smooth it all out. Flatten it out. Ready to pop our apples on the top. So I've got all of my mixture out. Okay. Trying not to get any around the outside. So flatten it out. And then that is ready and waiting for your apples. Pop that to one side, and you're then going to get your apples and your chopping board, and you're going to chop up your apple like we've cut apples before. So remembering bridge hold, cutting all the way down. Got my 2 halves, again cut down the middle, and then I'm going at a 45, And then I'm going to get rid of the core because we don't want to be eating that. We don't want that in our cake. Get rid of the core. Same with the other side. We don't want that core again, so managed to get rid of most of it already. Excellent. So now that I've cut my apple up into smaller segments, I'm going to cut them in half again so that I can actually pop them on the top of my cake and they're not too thick. So just cut those in half again. So that we've got quite a few slices ready to pop on the top of the cake. Okay, you can never have enough slices of apple. This is where you're going to get a bit creative and you're going to pop the apple on the top of the cake however you like. It might be that you make like a fan shape. You might just line them up one behind the other. Totally up to you. So get a little bit creative and pop the apple on top of your cake mixture. Okay, so I've popped my apple on top and I've done mine kind of in a circular sort of flower shape. Totally up to you how you've done yours though. Okay, this is where we're going to put our cinnamon on, but be careful when you pop your cinnamon on because it kind of comes out like poof, straight over your cake. So if you can, take the lid off, pop some in your hand, and all you're going to do is then sprinkle it over the top of your cake. Remember, this is obviously going to change the colour of the cake. Okay, so when you pop it into the oven, okay, remember that it's going to look darker. Okay, so it's not necessarily going to mean it's cooked. Okay, and you don't want to have it so that it's burnt on top either. Okay, so just sprinkle some of that over. Get rid of the excess that's in your hand. And then the same you're going to do with the sugar. Pop some in your hand and then you're going to sprinkle it over the top of the cake. Okay, again, remember this is just going to kind of like caramelize it off because this is brown demerara sugar. Okay, this is going to make it kind of go a little bit caramelly, okay, a little bit crunchy on the top. But again, we don't want it so that it burns. Okay, so sprinkle that, make sure you go over the whole cake, all over the apple. Okay, one last little bit to luck. And there we have it. So I'm now going to pop this little beaut in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes, but keep an eye on it, okay, because you obviously don't want it to burn. Okay, you're going to need a skewer, okay, or a knife to make sure that the cake is cooked. So you're going to pop it into the middle, and if it comes out clean, then it is cooked. If it comes out with like raw batter on, it's not cooked and you have to put it back in the oven. Okay, so after about 15 minutes or so, have a check and see how it is. If it's not cooked, put it back in for another couple of minutes, another 5 minutes or so. If it is cooked, brilliant, get it out. Make sure you've got a cooling rack. Okay, pop it in the oven and then we'll see how we get on. So my Dutch apple cake is out the oven. It took about 25 minutes to cook. The top has gone nice and golden brown. Okay, the apple is slunk slightly, which is perfect. The demerara sugar has started to melt and it's gone all crispy on top, which is fantastic. Make sure you leave it to cool, okay, and then slice it up and eat it. See how you go. Make sure you send us a picture as to how you get on. Enjoy.